Hi, my name is Jessie and I'm an artist based in Montreal. So for today's topic, I wanted to talk about the meaning of words. I've been wondering about like how powerful are words in terms of shaping society and manifesting, because there's this new trend where we manifest. It is bringing us back to what words really means and the power of words. So I wanted to dive in a little more. I had two questions in mind. Do we have the power to shape the world with words? And the second question that I'm wondering is, do visuals produce words or the opposite? Do we manifest with words? Is it what we see that creates the desire? Or is it what we see that creates the language? So basically in this discussion or this analysis, I want to compare visual communication and word communication. So yeah, I'm currently in the process of writing a book, and I never thought I was good with words. I feel like I often lack words to explain certain emotions, certain mental state, or even to express how I really feel. And I feel like for me, visual art has been the way I communicate. And now I'm at the point where I'm just wondering how these two coexist together. So meaning the visuals and the words, what we see and the words that we speak. Sometimes I get attached to words. Okay, so for example, if someone tells you that you're generous, you might like hold on, you might hold to this word during your lifetime and see yourself as a generous person. Or for example, if someone tells you you're a fashion icon, you might see yourself as is, even though like it was not the case. Just because someone mentioned it, then you start it starts to get in your thought process and the way you perceive yourself. With that in mind, that means that words have a weight. Like, I'm not saying words are not powerful, but I'm just questioning like how powerful are they? The thing I believe is that words are also volatile. They always change meanings depending on the era you're living. For example, daddy. Daddy used to be like a simple word so referring to your dad, and now with culture, daddy has become this perverse connotation. The meaning is shifting in a sense. And also with new communities that are coming up and the new words that we're using, for example, with the trans community or the LGBTQ community, I should say, like we had different pronouns. Then some people were using language that is neutral, so they wouldn't use any like female or masculine language. And also new words came up. I believe new words even came up with this movement. Anyway, so and also like to think, when I think of the word of words and this new trend of manifesting, this brought me back to Genesis in the Bible. When Genesis 1, when the Bible says God created through words, he spoke. So that actually means that I believe is a testimony of how powerful words are. And even when you think of word of mouth as being one of the most powerful marketing tool, so what you speak has an influence. When you think of the influencer era, like which is what they say. But at the same time, we have the influencer era, but we also have the politicians that are constantly lying. Their words are just like, it's like an art form. And it's like they're using the words in the art form performance. It's like they're performing.
Du meine Arbeit für richtig hältst, ob du glaubst, dass ich fleißig gewesen bin, dass ich gearbeitet habe, dass ich mich in diesen Jahren für dich eingesetzt habe.
So even though we face the difficulties, I still have a dream.
His name is Ted Williams, 53, from Brooklyn. As a teen, he fell in love with broadcasting after a chance meeting with a local DJ.
He said to me, listen, radio is defined theater of mind.
Might get your song played on the radio station.
Ted Williams with you.
It's the Golden Boys, Golden
That's
Boys.
right.
It's the Golden Boys. Shine. Your voice is golden.
That's right.
My daddy, Alabama. Mama, Louisiana.
America, avoiding uncomfortable truths, it requires the occasional disruption.
You mix that Negro with that Creole, make a Texas Bama.
The willingness to speak out for what is right, to shake up the status quo, that's America.
Like my Negro knows what Jackson 5 nostrils.
Like my Negro knows what Jackson 5 nostrils. You mix that Negro with that Creole, make a Texas Bama. Like my Negro knows what Jackson 5 nostrils.
Also, words are the greatest tools for leadership, and this is something we've seen with Adolf Hitler, Martin Luther King, and even Jesus Christ. For example, Adolf Hitler used a speech. He used a lot of hand gesture, his posture. So not only he was speaking with words, his words were supported with body language and performative artistry, let's say. Martin Luther King, he has like famous quotes that still today are cited. When it comes to Jesus Christ, with him, he preached the good news. So he went in different cities, he went to different cities and walked in different countries to announce the good news. I don't know how we say it in English, but pour annoncer la bonne nouvelle. This also shows how word of mouth, and still today we know the story of Jesus Christ, and we, like, even though like the name, because I believe his real name is Yeshua, it's not necessarily Jesus Christ, we still know the story. And this is to prove like how word of mouth is a powerful tool. Well, our mouth is a very powerful tool. On the other hand, visuals are the essence of communication, not words. The reason why I'm saying this is my theory, is just because what you see, and if you spend time contemplating beauty, I can assure you that you'll find a lot of solutions to problems you have in your everyday life. Nature has discipline, it has a rigid cycle. Everyone has a role in terms of animal, plants, vegetables, even us humans are in nature. All the great inventions, for example, the airplane invention was inspired by birds. When you think of boats were inspired by canard ducks. This is to show you how, like, in nature we found solution and invention and innovation. So I believe ideas are never new. Like the science says, rien ne se crée, rien ne se trouve, tout se transforme. Is that the quote? Rien ne se crée, rien ne se perd, tout se transforme. That's the quote. I'll put it in English, but yeah, like they say, when you think of the great philosophers we know, most of the questions, where are human coming from, the creation, and all these questions surrounding our existence, are reflections that were reflected back from nature. Like nature reflected these questions. So philosophers were philosophers because they were observing. Philosophers come with questions and theory through observation and reflections of nature. So this to show how, like, observation is in a sense a communication tool or a reflection of ourselves. Scientists came with theories through observation, but also they have to follow rigid principles nature comes with. And I'm speaking about the physics. I'm not a scientist, so I don't know exactly like what are the rules of nature, but we know a lot of them, like even indirectly, even though I don't have the specific terms. For example, we know that there's day and night. That's obvious. Then we know that the magnetic force, it's two opposites that attracts. We know that rule. Then we know that if I jump, the law of gravity, that's another rule, I guess. Then, yeah, there's a lot of them. We can't skip them. So even scientists, when they discover and have theory, they have like a lot of rules to work with. They working with rules, so very rigid rules. Anyway, and rules are not synonym of prison, but freedom. That's what I believe. So, you know, like when you know the rules, then you have a lot of possibilities. So, that inventors and creative mind can go outside of what God created. The tools you can use are there. You can only use what's in front of you. That's pretty much it. I can only create with the tools that are around me. And that is something we have to consider. So not only I can only create with the tools that are around me, I can only speak about what's in my environment. And also diversity is a reflection of God, because you know, we know that God is expressed through different area of his creation, and we are his creation. So I believe we also are nature. To see that we have Asian people, Black people, Europeans, I don't know, like we have all these diversity. You have people with thin eyes, with big nose, with long faces, with no arms. You have people with no legs. You have people with no hands. Then you have people with I don't know, like with blue hair, then yellow hair. Then you have fish underwater. You have fish in the sky. You have fish. I don't know, but there's all types of creatures. And even in like, even if you take like one race or one family member or one person that has or one family, I say one family, even twins. If you take twins, you'll be able to notice so much elements that are different This is just to highlight how complex and diverse our creator is. Okay, and finally, I believe visual plays a major part, and even when we think of aesthetic and beauty, like we respond to beauty, like we can't deny that. Even our body responds to beauty, and like we have to admit, like we treat people we find attractive better. It's just easier to treat them better because, you know. So definitely, I feel like visual is very strong, and maybe even stronger than words. But well, in terms of communication, I believe like there's visual, emotion, and then words. We use all three, but we focus a lot on words. But in this visual culture world, I think there's a chance for us to also give space, or there's a chance for us to see the importance of visual words. So like I said, the words, their definition are fluid and unstable, and visuals are made of perception. So where do we stand? Okay, so to conclude this discussion, I spoke about two types of communications, visual and words. But I feel like now that I'm making this video, there's also emotion that I didn't include in this video. I wanted to conclude with this. So we've spoke about how like words are fluid, but also very important in terms of convincing and communicating, and even for to manifest. And even the way we speak of ourselves, like we can make a lie a true just with words. So have to be careful with that. And then when it comes to visual communication and visual appeal, we know that philosophers come up with questions and theories with observation. The observation of nature helps solve problems. And also the inventors find their inspiration through nature. Boats, the invention of boats and the invention of planes. These are like main example. And then if I go back to the questions I asked, to shape the world, do we have power to shape the world with words? And then my second question is, do visuals produce words or the opposite? One time, I think in the summer, we had our front door open and then a butterfly came in, a blue, but was it a blue or it was not a blue, it was an orange butterfly came in the house. Personally, I'm scared of butterflies. So anyway, so the butterfly came and then I searched around the house. I searched, but never found it. Okay, so I thought, okay, maybe it didn't come in for real, or maybe I was hallucinating, maybe I was too scared, or maybe it died somewhere and, you know, like problem solved. Well, that night, the butterfly showed up and the butterfly was not orange anymore. It was a brown, dark butterfly. So it was not orange anymore. And it's only years later that I understood that the colors of butterflies, I don't know what's the science behind it, but the sun and the daylight is reflecting a certain color due to what they have. I don't know. Maybe I'll put some research or more information about this phenomena. But all I'm saying is that the butterfly I saw in the sunlight and the butterfly I saw at nighttime was not the same butterfly. The colors were gone. So that's what I mean by visuals are made of perception. That's it for this video. So I hope you get value and perspective from this video. So let me know what you think. Do you think visuals are producing words or the opposite? So I think it's really cool to think about that, because communication, especially during that time with visual communication, words, visual words, but also emotion is very important. Emotions. I think I'm gonna do a separate video for emotion. So we'll see. Bye.
It feels so good to